Now let's go out to the guest line, and we welcome in a man that hosts a radio show in Milwaukee right now. You can also listen to it on the always free Odyssey app, and that is the Mason Crosby Show with former NFL kicker, obviously Mason Crosby, who played with the Green Bay Packers from 2007 to 2022. Mason, appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this, and how you been?
I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and fighting some snow here in Middle Tennessee. We've probably got about 6 inches of snow, so enjoying that. The kids are running around, having a good time, but I'm hiding out in my cabin room up here, just getting ready for this big game tonight, Ohio State versus Texas. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a bit. Also, you got the wild card weekend games. I know your Packers on Sunday at 4:30 are going to be in South Philadelphia going up against the Eagles, but I'll never forget, you did a fantasy file kicking video when I was younger, and it was the sickest thing I think I've ever seen, where you were outside a church or a big building that has one of the bells on the top that rings to tell the time, and you fired off 3 kicks, and all 3 connected with the bell. What do you remember about shooting that? It was probably like, what, 06, 07, 08, somewhere around there.
It was 2008, and yeah, that was the Green Bay courthouse. So wow. A lot of people in Green Bay don't even know where I was or what I was doing. Everyone thinks it was a church or some random place, but it was right downtown Green Bay. Since I've shot that, they actually fixed the kind of copper, took some of the patina out, like they really made it nice. So maybe it had something to do with that. They saw some of those hits on that, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, we need to clean this up." And if anyone finds out where this is, if they come check it out and do a little pilgrimage out there. But we were talking about that actually on the show, kicking those balls off the bell tower. I had David Akers on, and he was talking about his where he flicked the ball up and then hit it 60-yard field goal. The Calvin Johnson one. So every fall, those fantasy files, those pop back up, and everybody sends me a clip like, "Oh my gosh, when was this? When was this? What was that?" And I still try to pretend like it wasn't CGI, but obviously I wasn't kicking the ball up there to the bell tower.
Wait, that wasn't real?
I was really kicking. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, the amount of kicks I did that day was probably more than I did in a normal week of work.
Yeah.
You know how some of those things are. The production crew, they're like, "Oh gosh, I didn't like how you said it." And I was running through all 3 kicks every time.
Wow.
So it was like I probably kicked 150 balls, just through the thing. But yeah, so there was a little theatrical and production value, involved in that. But I won't give away all the secrets.
So out of 150, how many do you think you actually successfully hit? Just wondering if you had to go back.
Oh man, well, if you watch it, I had to hit them so quick, and I was just kind of going. I mean, probably about, probably half of them would have flown. It would have been pretty solid. The other ones, some of them were rushed. They were all really tight together, so you're trying to avoid hitting another tee or doing something else. But those types of things are so fun. I've been fortunate enough to do a lot of ads and commercials and different things like that. And that one was 2008. So my second year in the NFL. And that was a fun one for me. I did a McDonald's ad with Donald Driver. That was probably the other one that was, pretty big moment for me. We were supposed to be in Wisconsin, I think late fall, and we were in Texas in July. So just imagine how hot we were, full pads, full uniform in Texas in July, trying to pretend like we're in Wisconsin, late October. It was probably one of the toughest acting jobs I've ever had to do.
Was that the whole Taken, Mason Crosby, Taken thing with fantasy? Because my friends, we still to this day, whenever somebody picks someone on our offline draft, it's like, "Oh, Mason Crosby's already taken" from that commercial.
Yeah, I don't. No, that one wasn't the Taken one, I don't think. But I did do I did some fantasy stuff. So yeah, I love those those opportunities that I had to jump on and do some fantasy files things, some some commercials like that with McDonald's and other things. So those are things maybe I'll dabble in that space again someday, but that time might have passed me by, since I'm not playing anymore.
Yeah, not the easiest thing to do still these days. Mason Crosby here with us. Alrighty. Let's get to the game coming up on Sunday. I'll be in attendance at the link. I'm looking forward to making the drive down from New York City. So Packers this year, there was a lot of intrigue with them because they were so good last year. And it's like, okay, can they take the next step up against the better opponents? They did not win twice. Vikings, twice against the Lions. They lost the Eagles in Brazil to open up the season. Where's your confidence with the Packers going into this weekend in a tough environment in Philly?
Oh, gosh. See, I always have to turn off my player hat and put on like now in this new gig and doing the radio and podcasts and like the media side. I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be a tough test for him. I think this Philly team, some people talking, I've been listening. It's like, everyone's kind of been sleeping on them, I feel like, for the last few weeks. They had a little kind of a patch in the middle of the season where it's like they lost, or it was early, lost to the Bucks. Couldn't just really figure it out on offense, it seemed like, but their defense has kind of kept them in this, throughout the season. And I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's, going to be low scoring. I think both defenses are really solid. They're very similar on how they play the game. I think Philly's a little more attacking in their front seven, but, sit back. Like if you look, both their corners do not have an interception, which is wild. But, Johnson Gardner has 6, Blankenship has 4. They just find ways to kind of attack you in different different areas. So I think they'll sit back off our receivers, try to force us. Okay, can we run the ball against us? If they can stop the run, how are the Packers going to attack them in different ways? But for me, I was talking on the radio this week, and I'm just like, okay, player perspective, you're going into everything where it's like, yeah, we're winning this game. Sure. We're doing all the stuff. We're doing it. I'm like, all right, how can they win this game? What's it going to look like? My prediction on my show was that, unfortunately, I had the Eagles winning 24-20. I felt like I was picking the Packers because I had them covering the spread. So, it kind of was a win-win for me. But, I think the Eagles are going to just be a little too much. I think we'll be able, the Packers will be able to handle Saquon like they did a little bit. He scored 3 touchdowns, but he didn't go off on them, kind of down in distance. But it's going to be a tough task. And I think Jalen Hurts, and in all reality, if his head's good, if he's coming off this concussion thing, he's going to be rested. So he's probably feeling the best he has all season. And so I think Eagles will go how Jalen goes. And I think the Packers have to get Jordan Love just to make that offense dynamic. They'll run the ball with Josh Jacobs. That's been their recipe towards the end of the season, but they have to go with Jordan Love. If they're going to win this game, he's going to have to go off and have an epic game.
Mason Crosby here with us for a few more moments. So they tried the receiver by committee this year, and they're in the postseason. Yeah. We know what they did last year. Christian Watson, unfortunately, is now out for the season with the injury he suffered the other week. I still think they need a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. I saw Devontae Adams today was on McKay Adams. Wouldn't rule out a return to the Packers. T. Higgins could be a free agent. Like, that's something probably the Packers should explore this offseason. T. Higgins spending some big money on him, or maybe pulling off a little trade with the Jets to go bring Devontae Adams back to Green Bay.
Yeah, we've talked about that a little bit on the show there in Milwaukee, that I'm a big proponent that you need a number 1 wide receiver. You need that, that security blanket, that guy that's going to make the play and step up in the big moments that a quarterback can lean on, he can rely on. I think Jordan has looked at Tucker Kraft at times, like when Christian's out, whenever some of his guys are banged up, when Romeo Doubs is out, I think likes to go to Tucker in that tight end position, but you have to have a number 1 wide receiver. Devontae, obviously him saying he's willing to, that's going to require some work, obviously with the Jets and whatever happens there. But I really think the T. Higgins would be a great fit there. Love Devontae. I think if he could come back, that would be unreal. But I think a T. Higgins, with what he's done, he's kind of ready now to take that next step, get out from, under the Jamar Chase and be in that system. And I think that would be a really good fit for him if the Packers could go and get someone like that. And that's what I've been saying is free agency for me is you have to get a wide receiver. I think everyone kind of keeps talking do they cut Jair? Do they do something at corner? But I'm like, you keep Jair, you draft his replacement, you draft 2 or 3 guys, that can develop and get under, kind of watch him and have his replacement. But if you want to win next year and be great on offense, I think you have to go get a number one receiver.
What does your gut tell you right now about your old teammate Aaron Rodgers? Has he played his final game in the NFL, Mason Crosby?
Oh gosh, yeah, that will be interesting. It felt like it. It kind of felt like it at times. Like I guess his last game in Green Bay was more just like he knew maybe that his time in Green Bay was over. I do think my guy Randall Cobb might have been at that last game at the Jets. So watching and his family. So that kind of might be a telltale sign that Aaron might be looking at the end, but. We'll see. I mean, honestly, his body, he looked really good other than just kind of ankle some of the stuff like unfortunate that happened throughout the season. But I thought he was moving well. He seemed to really enjoy his time there with the Jets. And, he's going to have a tough decision to make. So we'll see if I can't have a conversation with him here in the next couple of weeks and pick his brain and see what he's going to do.
Yeah, that would really be something. So I'll ask you a kicking question on the way out. Justin Tucker, we know, has been the standard for so many years. This is the lowest kicking percentage of his career, so he struggled this season. But you know what he's capable of. Mentally, what do you think Justin Tucker has been going through this season, and is there any concern that will carry over into the postseason?
I mean, obviously, yeah, he's had a blip on the radar, and that's – anytime you do something for a very long time, like it's hard to have sustained success the way he has. Honestly, it's like with how long he's gone without like a down season is extremely impressive. He hasn't been hurt much. He hasn't missed a lot. So all of those things play a factor. I know he's had a change in his operation here, over the last few years. And I had a lot of changes in my time there in Green Bay with snapper and holder and just learning to deal with those guys, learning to, get the rhythm and the feel and all of that. And I noticed Justin's kind of the way he operated whenever he had Morgan Cox and Sam Koch, and they were just like a machine, right? That ball was just down, flat. I saw the kick in Denver where Baltimore won and Flacco was the quarterback. He kicks that game winner. I mean, that ball literally, he just folded it down. It was right there. It looked like he was looking at it for a second and a half. I mean, it was just like perfect. And I know he's kind of a rhythmic guy. So, if any of those things start kind of creeping in, it can be an issue. But I would never bet against Justin Tucker come playoff time. So if there's a big kick or something that's needed for that Baltimore Ravens team and, against the Steelers here in the playoffs, that's I would bet on Justin Tucker every day of the week.
I know your radio show now airs in Milwaukee on the Fan. You can listen to it on the always free Odyssey app. Tell us what you got cooking now in the media world with the radio show and the podcast.
Yeah, so I'm there at 12:50 a.m. and 105.7 FM, The Fan, Milwaukee. So got my radio voice going. It's been awesome. We're obviously with the Odyssey group, and it's great. We're bringing a station that went off air locally for about a year and a half, and so to be able to bring that back to the market, kind of just have some fresh stuff, trying to bring, some different voices and, some good energy into that space. It's been fun for me and I'm learning a lot. It's stepping into this media world and trying to put my critical hat on and see things a little differently than whenever I was a player is fun for me. And I like the challenge. And then my brother and I are doing a podcast, Kicking It with the Crosbys. And that's, you find that on the Odyssey app and Spotify and, YouTube, and we're doing videos. And so my brother is, he played soccer in college. He played football in high school. He knows a lot about all of it, but it's so interesting because he was at so many of my big moments as a fan, and he grew up a Packers fan. And so some of those insights, and then our brother banter is always good. Always and
good.
Fun. Yeah, he's a little brother. He'll say some things I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I want to, wring your neck. But we have a good time, and so those have been fun, and we're rolling those out twice a week right now. So we're trying to ramp that up. So go on there, check it out, and give a listen. If anyone's a soccer fan, we're diving into some like the cultural similarities and differences between the international soccer world and football. And so we're going to kind of keep diving into that, get some fan perspectives, and talk to players about who they support overseas and in the soccer space and vice versa. So it's going to be a fun journey that we're going on, and I'm excited about it.
I know that you played your college ball at Colorado. Last thing I'll ask you, Mason Crosby, you got Coach Prime right the other day, who has always denied the NFL, now saying, yeah, I'd be interested in coaching my sons like any dad would. Do you think Coach Prime is going to stay in Boulder, or is that their fear out there that, okay, he's going to probably go to the NFL in a few years? Well,
I'm pretty sure, didn't he say he'd coach if both his sons were on the same team?
Yeah.
Is that what it? Yeah. So he's trying to set something up, see if if anyone bites, if they can get drafted to the same team. That would be pretty cool. But that's a long shot. We'd see. We'll see if something like that happens, if he can work an angle. But I think he seems to like it there in Boulder. He's it's been a good fit for him. He's a big fisherman. I know he has a pond on his property, and he's always posting videos of catching fish and doing that. And I went to the Alamo Bowl and watched them. Disappointing loss, but the fan base and like what he has done for that place is so awesome. And so it'd be hard if like you go and you take a risk going into the NFL where you're not going to really move the needle too much, with a fan base, other than just kind of energy and excitement. He's literally brought a whole new fan base to the University of Colorado, and it's such a unique experience when you go to those games and you see what he's done there. So I hope he sticks it out. We'll see. Obviously, come draft time, if that happens and those both his sons are on the same team, does he make a move to that space? But I think he'll at least do one more year at Colorado before he ever did anything else. I think for him, it's like, okay, you get, your sons are gone, all of those things. Like, I think it will be a proving ground for him to see what he does whenever he doesn't have, his sons and those guys kind of running the offense and defense. And it's like, all right, can I take another team to the next level? I'm excited to see if he can do it.
He's Mason Crosby. Mason, really appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this. Good luck with the radio show and the podcast, all right?
All right, Zach, thanks. Appreciate it. And, go Pack. Good luck this weekend, boys.